Welcome to the equation of excellence. Can a formula of dignity and aspects and fixed stars predict eminence in a field? But before we get started, with peace and love, subscribe, like, comment, share if you dare. Algorithm do not care, but I do. So let's talk about it. We'll begin with our abstract because we're talking about a formula of dignity, aspects, and fixed stars predicting eminence in a field. And this thesis investigates whether a structured synthesis of essential dignity, aspectual configuration, and fixed star conjunction can reliably predict eminence in a specific professional domain. Drawing upon classical astrological authorities from Ptolemy and Valens through Guido Bonatti to William Lilly, and synthesizing traditional doctrine with contemporary observational data, this essay argues that such a formula not only exists, but constitutes the methodological core of predictive astrology. The tripartite formula operates as follows. Essential dignity provides the capacity for sustained excellence. Aspectual patterns determine the domain of expression, and fixed star conjunctions supply the specificity of genius, the secret helper that elevates competence into eminence. Through examination of historical testimonies, hierarchical dignity systems, and fixed star observational records, this thesis demonstrates that when a significator planet possesses strong essential dignity, receives favorable aspects from appropriate planetary witnesses, and is augmented by a conjoined fixed star of corresponding nature, the native is not merely capable, but fated for distinction in that planet's designated field. Let's talk about the astrological question of greatness. The perennial question of what separates the competent from the eminent, the skilled from the genius, has occupied astrological thinkers for millennia. Why do some individuals with apparently favorable placements achieve only modest success, while others with similar configurations rise to undisputed mastery? The answer this thesis proposes lies not in any single factor, but in the synthesis of three distinct astrological variables: essential dignity, aspectual configuration, and fixed star activation. The preeminent 17th century astrologer William Lilly, drawing upon the medieval master Guido Bonatti, articulated the synthesis with characteristic precision. In his Anima Astrologiae, Lilly transmits Bonatti's teaching on what he calls the secret helper, a configuration so powerful that it accomplishes the things shall be accomplished and effected even beyond the querent's hopes. The secret helper is none other than a fixed star of appropriate nature, conjoined with a planetary significator within specific orbs, operating in a place where that planet holds dignity. And this essay will reconstruct the formula implicit in this tradition, demonstrating that eminence is predictable when three conditions are met. The significator planet is essentially dignified, operating from strength rather than debility. It receives aspects that orient its energy toward a specific life domain, and it is augmented by a fixed star whose mythological function corresponds to that domain. The result is a predictive equation of remarkable precision. Let's talk about essential dignity as the foundation of capacity. So before a planet can produce eminence, it must possess the capacity to do so. This capacity is measured through essential dignity, the planet's fundamental strength derived from its zodiacal position, considered in isolation from all other chart factors. Now let's look at the hierarchy of dignities. Well, the tradition recognizes 5 essential dignities, arranged in a hierarchy of importance. As the Wikipedia article on essential dignity explains, for post-classical astrologers such as Bonatti and Lilly, the most important dignity was domicile rulership. Slightly less important was exaltation. Triplicity rulerships were still fairly important in medieval astrology, but nowhere near as vital as they were for Hellenistic astrologers such as Ptolemy. Terms or bound rulerships became very much diminished in importance, and face rulers were almost entirely ignored. This hierarchy matters for our predictive formula. So a planet in its domicile ruling the sign it occupies operates with the authority of a master in their own home, possessing resources, autonomy, and the capacity to act without external permission. A planet in its exaltation operates with the intensity of honored guests, received with acclaim, but ultimately dependent on the hospitality of the domicile lord. And triplicity rulership indicates comfort within the elemental family, while terms and phases offer only minimal support. Deborah Holding, in her educational materials on dignity, offers a useful allegorical distinction. Essential dignity indicates that the planet has qualities and skills that suit him to the job, while accidental dignity, angularity, speed, freedom from combustion suggest that someone has helped him or because he was in the right place at the right time. For sustained eminence, the kind that endures beyond momentary opportunity, essential dignity is indispensable. Now we talk about the condition of peregrination. The inverse of dignity is debility, and the most significant debility for our purposes is peregrination, the condition of a planet with no essential dignity whatsoever. Lilly regarded peregrination as a malefic condition, one that leaves the planet wandering without resources or support. A peregrine planet, regardless of aspects or fixed star conjunctions, lacks the foundational strength to sustain eminence. It may produce notoriety, even infamy, but not the durable excellence that defines true mastery. Thus, the first term of our equation is threshold-based. The significator planet must possess, at minimum, triplicity rulership and preferably domicile or exaltation in the sign it occupies. And now part 2 is the aspectual matrix and a fortune of rank. So if dignity provides capacity, aspects provide direction. The angular relationships a planet forms with other chart factors determine how its energy flows into the world and which domains of life it most powerfully influences. We look at the midheaven as the seat of eminence. Raphael's A Manual of Astrology provides extensive testimony on the configurations that produce the fortune of rank, that is, eminence in the public sphere. The author states unequivocally, Jupiter and the midheaven, near the cusp, are sure to produce great success in life, with a name known both far and near. The midheaven, MC, as the point of highest elevation in the chart, naturally correlates with public standing, career, and reputation. But Jupiter alone is not sufficient, Raphael continues. Or if Saturn and Jupiter be conjoined with these, they give an extensive fame, great honor, lasting credit, power, and eminence. The native is sure to eclipse and outdo all his contemporaries, as well as to be victorious in almost every controversy wherein he may be engaged. The conjunction of the two social planets, Jupiter, expansion, honor, and Saturn, structure, authority, on the midheaven produces a durability of reputation that Jupiter alone might not sustain. Fixed signs and irresistible force. The quality of the signs occupying the angles also contributes to eminence. A remarkable passage from the Message of the Stars describes the effect of fixed signs on the angles. They exert a well-nigh irresistible force, impelling the individual along a certain line. Whatever talent he may possess in a certain direction will be exploited to its fullest extent. Setbacks, which would take the courage from a person with cardinal signs, do not daunt the man with fixed signs on the angles. He knows no defeat, and therefore he usually gains his goal in the end and achieves success by concentration upon one point and persistence in following his chosen path. This testimony is crucial for our formula. Fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, on the angles provide the staying power that transforms talent into mastery. The native becomes, in the author's phrase, the most reliable people in the world, either for good or bad. This reliability, this capacity for sustained concentration upon a single point, is a psychological correlate of essential dignity operating through angular houses. All right. Let's talk about planets above the Earth. Raphael also notes that all the planets above the Earth, or the greater part of all, indicates fame. Planets located in the southern hemisphere of the chart, houses 7 through 12, are above the horizon at birth, visible in public. So when the majority of planets occupy this hemisphere, the native's life is inherently oriented toward public expression. This is a form of accidental dignity that reinforces the essential dignity of the significator. On to fixed stars as the secret helper of eminence. So the third and most specific term of our equation is a fixed star conjunction. Here we move from general capacity and directional orientation to precise fated distinction. We look at the doctrine of the secret helper. The most explicit statement of fixed star function in predictive astrology comes from Guido Bonatti, transmitted through William Lilly. The passage deserves its full quotation. So, for when thou dost erect a figure, thou shouldst first find the significator of the thing inquired after or to be undertaken, and see if any of the fixed stars of his own nature be in either of his houses, or in his exaltation, or in conjunction with him to a minute. For then such star shall so far help the significator that the thing shall be accomplished and effected, even beyond the querent's hopes, and this is a most strong secret helper. This teaching establishes several critical principles. First, the fixed star must share the nature of the significator of his own nature. A martial star should conjoin Mars, or a planet operating in a martial capacity. A Venusian star should conjoin Venus. Second, the conjunction must be precise, to a minute of arc. Third, the star operates in a place where the planet holds dignity, in either of his houses or in his exaltation. Lilly then provides a graduated scale of effectiveness based on the orbs. So within 1 minute to 15 minutes, the star helps very strongly. Within 16 to 50 minutes, it helps somewhat, but less. Beyond 50 minutes, the effect diminishes further. And this precision distinguishes the fixed star conjunction from mere sign-based proximity. A planet at 13 degrees Gemini with the fixed star Mepsuta at 13 degrees 10 Gemini is within the effective orb. A planet at 13 degrees Gemini with Mepsuta at 16 degrees Gemini, while in the same sign, lacks the secret helper activation. Let's talk about the observational evidence, Mepsuta as a case study. So, the forum compilation on the fixed star Mepsuta Epsilon Geminorum, provides detailed observational data that confirms and elaborates Bonatti's doctrine. Mepsuta, a star of Saturn-Mercury nature in the constellation of the Twins, manifests distinctly based on which planet it conjoins. Now, when it's conjunct Jupiter, Mepsuta produces expansive ethical wisdom, ceremonial teacher or philosopher, capacity for high-ranking roles in law, religion, or academia, strong moral compass, and leadership charisma. This is precisely the configuration Raphael describes for the fortune of rank. Jupiter, dignified and augmented by a fixed star of appropriate nature, produces eminence in the fields Jupiter governs: law, religion, higher education. When it's conjunct Mercury, Mepsuta yields surgical precision in speech and logic, gifted communicator, especially in law, medicine, or technical fields, strong memory, strategic thinker. Here, the same star contacting a different planet produces a different but equally specific form of excellence. Again, when it's conjunct Mars this time, the manifestation shifts to tactical warrior energy, disciplined aggression, excellent placement for military, martial arts, surgery, or crisis management, strong will and power to enforce justice. The star's Saturnine precision combines with Martian force to produce surgical or military mastery. Now, when it's conjunct Saturn itself, Mepsuta gives mastery of structure, systems, and sacred laws, exceptional discipline, patience, and responsibility, capable of leadership in serious institutional roles, government, medicine, science. The pattern is unmistakable. The fixed star augments and specifies the planetary energy, directing it toward particular professional domains. The planet provides the kind of excellence, and the star provides the specific field. All right, the condition of affliction. The Mebsuta data also reveals the shadow side of the formula. When the same configurations occur without supporting dignity or with malefic aspects, the results are correspondingly negative. Mars conjunct Mebsuta afflicted produces harshness, cruelty, or violent tendencies. Rigid anger patterns may become punitive or sadistic. Saturn conjunct Mebsuta unbalance yields excessive coldness or detachment, severity, or cruelty can become authoritarian. This confirms that the formula is not merely additive but synthetic. Dignity, aspects, and fixed stars must work in harmony. A powerful fixed star conjunction with a debilitated planet doesn't produce eminence, it produces dangerous power without wisdom. Alright, now I wanted to give a predictive formula. Because we are now in a position to state the formula explicitly. So eminence in a field equals essential dignity of significator multiplied by aspectual orientation toward the domain multiplied by fixed star conjunction of appropriate nature. And this is where essential dignity is measured by the hierarchy. Domicile, 5 points. Exaltation, 4 points. Triplicity, 3. Term, 2. Face, 1. A score of at least 3 triplicity is required for the capacity to sustain eminence. We look at our aspectual orientation and what that includes: angular placement, especially the midheaven, fixed signs on angles, planets above the horizon, and favorable aspects from planets of related nature. Fixed star conjunction requires precise orb, preferably within 15 minutes of arc, star of nature concordant with the significator, and the star operating in a place where the planet holds dignity. The multiplication symbol is intentional. These factors don't merely add to each other, they amplify each other. A dignified planet without a fixed star may produce competence, even success. A fixed star conjunction with a peregrine planet may produce notoriety, even power, but not durable excellence. Only when all 3 factors align does the secret helper operate beyond the querent's hopes. Let's talk about the role of the Tajika tradition. This formula finds confirmation in the sophisticated dignity systems of the Tajika tradition as preserved in Balabhadra's Hayanarana, the Jewel of Annual Astrology. The 1649 Sanskrit treatise, recently published in critical edition by Martin Ganston, elaborates the 5 dignities, the 6-fold strength, and crucially, the 16 configurations, including the Aithasala and Asarafa aspects that determine the strength of planetary promises. Excuse me. So, the Tajika system, which synthesizes Perso-Arabic and Indian astrological methods, places particular emphasis on the Montfaha, progression of the ascendant, and the calculation of the ruler of the year, techniques that allow the astrologer to time the manifestation of the fixed star promise. A fixed star conjunction in the natal chart may indicate potential for eminence. Its activation depends on progressions and transits that bring that point to prominence. And now I'm going to conclude here with part 5, testing the formula, a proposed methodology. The formula proposed here is empirically testable. A research protocol might proceed as follows. Cohort selection, where we identify 200 individuals universally recognized as eminent in specific fields. So for example, Nobel laureates in physics, Pulitzer Prize winners in fiction, Olympic gold medalists, Supreme Court justices. We have our control group. Select 200 individuals matched for birth year and general social position, but without exceptional eminence in any field. Chart calculation for each subject. We calculate essential dignity scores for all planets, with special attention to the planet traditionally governing the field of eminence: Mercury for writers, Mars for athletes, Jupiter for judges, Venus for artists, Saturn for scientists. Aspectual configurations, including angular placements, fixed sign occupations, and planets above the horizon. Fixed star conjunctions within 15 minutes of orb for all major stars, 15 first magnitude stars, and stars of special professional significance. and statistical analysis, where we compare the frequency of the triple configuration, dignity and appropriate aspects and concordant fixed star and the eminent cohort versus the control group. God, I can't believe this. Google Docs just stopped working on me. Mercury is actually going direct tomorrow. It's March 22nd. So this retrograde has been all over the place for me, to be honest. But anyways. All right, we're on 49. There we go. So, the hypothesis predicts a statistically significant elevation of the triple configuration in the eminent cohort, with particularly strong results when the fixed star is of the same nature as the planet and the planet holds domicile or exaltation. And now we conclude with the equation as a living tradition. So, this thesis has demonstrated that the question, can a formula of dignity and aspects and fixed stars predict eminence, receives an affirmative answer from the astrological tradition. The formula is not a modern invention, but the distilled wisdom of 2 millennia of observational practice, from the Hellenistic astrologers through the Persian and Arabic intermediaries to the medieval and Renaissance masters. The formula operates through a precise mechanism. Essential dignity provides the foundational capacity for sustained excellence. Aspectual configuration directs that capacity toward public expression in a specific domain, and fixed star conjunction supplies the secret helper, the precise fated augmentation that elevates competence into genius. William Lilly, transmitting Guido Bonatti, understood this when he wrote of the fixed star that such star shall so far help the significator that the thing shall be accomplished and effected, even beyond the querent's hopes. Raphael understood it when he described Jupiter on the midheaven producing great success in life, with a name known both far and near. The anonymous author of The Message of the Stars understood it when he described fixed signs on the angles impelling the individual along a certain line with well-nigh irresistible force. Now, this formula is not deterministic in a crude sense. It does not guarantee eminence regardless of effort, circumstance, or choice, but it identifies those for whom the capacity for excellence is written into the fabric of the birth moment, those for whom a particular field of endeavor is not merely a career choice, but a destiny, also known as their natal promise. In the end, the equation of excellence is also an equation of responsibility. Those who bear the secret helper in their charts are not merely fortunate, they are charged with the obligation to develop their gifts, to persist through setback, and to use their eminence in service of something beyond themselves. The fixed stars, as the ancients knew, do not merely shine, they watch, and they remember what they see. With peace and love, I hope to see you in the next video. That was a shitty heart, but yeah, we'll see you there with peace and love.